on Tara Marie Live.
We're live on Facebook Live?
We are live. Yes.
Oh, and Chad, set the clock, boo-boo.
I will. I will when we start this podcast.
So we're live on Facebook. No, we're live, seriously?
Yeah, we are live, yes.
Hi, everybody. We're live on Facebook Live. I'm Tara Marie. This is Karol. And what we're doing, if you've never seen this before, my podcast pre-records every other week. And what we like to do is air it on Facebook Live, so you kind of get a background, behind the scenes look at the pre-record of a podcast. It's not very glamorous. It's me, it's the guest, and we've got Chad out there on the board. Chad, you want to say hi? Chad's our producer.
Hello.
Chad's with us.
I'm checking all the feeds. I got to check the Facebook
Okay,
Live.
Poppy. Okay,
I got
go.
a lot to do.
All right, so I'll talk. So basically what we do is we are going to be doing a show, and this is, I welcome you. I'm glad that you're joining me. We're going to be doing a show with Karol. Karol's a psychotherapist, and we're doing a show about infidelity. And Karol, I contacted you after an incident occurred in my life, and I said I want to do a show in infidelity. Yeah. So I have ulterior motives. I wanted your opinion about something, and I figured better to do it on the air because I think it's more authentic. But I don't think this is a show. I know a lot of you email me and you tell me that as a podcast, you and your family listen. I don't think this is a show for children. I'm going to say some things I would rather kids didn't hear. So if kids are around, I don't think kids should be hearing this. That's my disclaimer.
Yeah.
Anything to say to the audience real quick, Karol?
No, this is going to be a great topic.
Yeah.
It's very rich.
Yeah. And it's also a very timely topic, I think, right now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
So, Chad, are we ready to start, you think?
Yeah, I think we're ready to start the clock.
We're ready to
Let's
start
do
the
this.
clock.
Have a great show,
Okay,
ladies.
so you guys, just watch the show, enjoy it. And Chad, are you open if people post in my Facebook
Yeah, I'll
comments?
let you know.
Are you open to that?
Yeah, it's encouraged.
Okay, so you guys listen, because this show is about what I think is a really, to me, it's a very emotional topic. I get really riled up about it. If you have something to say, post in the comment section of Facebook, and Chad will do his best to, because I don't have my phone with me. Chad has it out there outside of the studio. I'll do my best to follow up.
Yep.
And yeah. Okay, so.
Oh, there's
What?
two things we need to do. See, this is the joy of people watching.
Oh, that's right.
There's a couple things we need to do.
We have to do our little screen grab.
We need to do a screen grab, and then I need somebody to clap into the microphone.
Okay,
as well.
let's do the screen grab. Okay, so Karol, we started doing this.
forgot about this. I'm so
we
sorry.
we pause for a second and we look, so that way they can take a cut.
Okay.
For the Okay. Do I look okay?
You look great.
Oh yes, stop this.
Oh, Chad.
Stop the madness.
Okay.
Excellent.
And
All
can
right.
we do it again?
Yeah, take another one. And there's actually something I need in the booth, and then we're going to go live for the podcast. But Facebook
Was
Live
that
people,
good?
that was great.
We held it for a minute.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, I'm coming into
Okay.
the booth. I'm going to grab something.
Okay,
Talk amongst
should I
yourselves,
talk
but
about-
remember, we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
So be nice about
So guys,
what you
listen.
say.
So guys, listen again. If you have comments, I really want to know. Chad will do his best to keep an eye on my Facebook feed while we're doing this. And again, I have some strong opinions, so I hope children aren't listening.
There you go. Somebody just wrote, haha, you. So we got the message.
Who said haha?
You know, it doesn't show me right now. I have to go on my computer. I'll
It doesn't
find out
tell
later.
you.
But
Okay.
people are watching.
Should I do
People
the
are
clap?
communicating.
Should I do the clap?
Yes, a single clap into the mic. Thank you. All right, ladies, have a wonderful show, and enjoy.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Should I do a countdown?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 3, 2. Well, hello and welcome to Tara Marie Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Tara Marie Segundo, and I'm a fitness expert, a personal trainer, and a motivational strategist. And we're coming to you today, once again, from the Hangar Studios on a beautiful day right here in Midtown Manhattan, in the heart of New York City. Tara Marie Live is about mental, emotional, physical, social, and spiritual health. And I aim to bring you information that will help you change your life in ways that will optimize your health and optimize your happiness. Now, today we're doing a Facebook Live simulcast as we pre-record my podcast. So we welcome all our friends in Facebook land. Our topic today applies to anybody who will ever be or currently is in a romantic relationship. And the topic is infidelity, cheating. Now, different people have different opinions as to what constitutes cheating, but everybody, I think, would agree that it would be devastating to be with a partner or a spouse who cheats. It destroys relationships, it destroys lives, and I've seen it destroy families. I actually did a little research in anticipation of today's show. A study from late 2016 suggests that men men are somewhat more likely to cheat than women. According to the Associated Press and the Journal of Marital and Family Therapy, 22% of men say that they've cheated on their significant other at least once during their marriage, and 14% of wives admit to infidelity. So that's what, a quarter of men, almost a quarter of all men admit to infidelity. The statistics also suggest that people are most likely to have affairs with co-workers. I did not know that. As many as 36% of men and women say that they've had an affair with someone they work with. 17% admit to having an affair with a sister-in-law or a brother-in-law. I consider my sister-in-laws my sisters. I don't have any brother-in-laws, but I would probably consider them brothers. That to me is astounding. And also, it seems that the saying, once a cheater, always a cheater, appears to be true. According to statistics, people who have cheated before are 350% more likely to cheat again than those who have never cheated. I did not know that either. I said this on the Facebook Live feed before we started the podcast. This is not a show for children. I'm going to be saying some things that I wouldn't want my nieces and nephews to hear. So if you've got children listening to this podcast, please consider possibly not allowing them to continue listening. My guest today is Karol Ward. Now, she's a licensed psychotherapist, a confidence expert and coach, and a nationally recognized speaker. She's the author of 2 books. One is called Worried Sick, Break Free from Chronic Worry to Achieve Mental and Physical Health. And this book, Find Your Inner Voice Using Instinct and Intuition Through the Body-Mind Connection. Now, Karol is a TEDx speaker, and her popular talk at TEDx Times Square focused on the power of the body-mind connection. Karol, welcome. A lot of what we're going to talk about today, this Find Your Inner Voice is not about relationships. It's about connecting your thoughts and your mind and your body together so that you sync them up. So,
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
And there's a chapter in this book, chapter 6 actually, and I reread it last night, the entire chapter, that speaks to relationships. And you told me that you felt like it was relevant because if a lot of these elements are missing, it can set up an environment for cheating.
That's right. That whole chapter is about how to have a really connected, solid, strong relationship. When some of those elements aren't in place, this is when infidelity can start to creep in, though infidelity has roots that come from surprising places.
I agree. I agree because I've looked at, I'm one of these people, I've looked at couples where infidelity has touched them, and I think, God, I never would have guessed that. God, I just never would have guessed it.
Right. It's not always, someone treating someone badly or someone who has a history. It's more this sense of something has gone wrong either with the couple or with the individuals within that couple.
Yeah, with the individuals.
That's right.
One of this is just an example. This is just coming to mind. Something that confused me profoundly was, remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger cheated on Maria Shriver? The beautiful woman, smart woman, kind woman. I mean, now I don't know what was going on in their relationship, but he cheated with the maid. I think she was the housekeeper of the home.
Has nothing to do with how beautiful or wonderful the spouse or how handsome the spouse is. Often that has nothing to do with it because you see it all over the place. How could he leave her? She's a model. Or how could she leave him? He's so handsome. He's so successful.
Right.
Leave meaning step out of the marriage.
Yes.
Step out of the relationship. It often has nothing to do with what a person looks like.
Oh, well, but or how the person is, or I've actually heard women say, I was gobsmacked. We had sex a lot, meaning 3 or 4 times. I mean, we had a normal sex life. I thought we loved each other. There seemed to be harmony in the home. There was not arguing. Do you understand? I've seen women interviewed who were just floored because they just didn't see it coming.
That's right.
They weren't even aware of something missing.
That's right. It's not always obvious. There can be signs, but it's not always obvious. And the hard thing, and I know we're going to really talk about this in depth, is sometimes it has nothing to do with your partner, the one who gets cheated on, right? Has nothing to do with that. Of course, you're going to feel the hurt and the impact of that. It's going to leave a scar, but often it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
If you are the one who's been cheated on.
Right. Because I would think I've never cheated, and but I would think that someone who's compelled to do that has a certain set of personality traits, if you will, or do you understand? Like, I just wouldn't do it for a variety of reasons. Primarily because I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Like I can't do stuff. I get nauseous if I tell a lie. You know. So, but to me, people who have the capability of cheating have a certain set of. There's something going on inside that allows them to do that.
Right. And it often, and I know this is the thing that we might bump up against, has nothing to do with whether they're good-hearted or moral. That's the thing. Sometimes it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a emotional or psychological phase or state or need that person goes through. And believe me, I have had people in my office who are racked with sorrow and pain about stepping outside of
they have
the
guilt?
relation. Oh, of course. And it's not something that they do lightly. And then the work becomes, which we can talk about, is what's going on with you,
Right.
what's going on with the relationship, and then what do you want to do about it?
Right. Okay. Because what I did was I posted on Facebook earlier today, and I posted on both Facebook and Twitter, and I just said, this was my question. If your partner cheated, would you be able to stay in the relationship and trust again? Would it matter whether it was a one-night stand, a short-term affair, or a long-term affair? What would you do? And I said, I left my own comment, and I said I would end the relationship simply because I can't expend energy worrying and wondering whether or not I'm being lied to again. It would be painful, but it would have to be over. Because I would think if a guy cheated on me, it's not like I stop loving him, but love isn't like a water faucet you turn off, but I would have to end it. And Teresa said, totally agree. She even said, been there. Jessica said, nope, I'd be done and move on. Mahana said, my kids are grown. However, if that happened to me, and fortunately it did not, and my kids were underage, she said, I would stay for their sake, but after high school, I would leave. And Jose said I would kill her. So Jose would go commit. And then on Twitter, Robert said, unless you want an open relationship where you both have multiple partners, you've got to get out and move on. Again, Chad will keep an eye on the comments.
Yes, yes.
I
will.
don't know anybody. I wouldn't stay under any circumstance, even if I had I just wouldn't do it. I don't know anyone who would tolerate that.
Well, again, it's who you speak to and who you are hearing stories from. So a lot of people do stay. And a lot of people
for a lot of
stay,
reasons.
For a lot of reasons. So it could be a practical reason. It could be
like Mahana said. If Mahana, because I think I know Mahana.
Yeah.
I think she's got several kids, 3 or 4. She's if she's got 4 kids that are young kids.
And some people stay, and that's the original reason they stay. But if they stay in that relationship with a fortress around them,
right?
That's also not going to be good for either the couple or the family,
children,
right?
right.
I'm going to stay for the kids. I'm going to freeze you out. Believe me.
The kids notice.
The kids notice. And it's intolerable to be living a lie and to be walking through the motions in a relationship.
Sleeping in bed.
Yeah, it's really, it really wears you down. So people stay for that reason. People stay because they go, ouch, this is so painful, but I'm willing to find out why. And some people come into couples therapy saying, I want to find out why. I don't know if I'm going to stay or not.
I still want to understand.
And some stay and some go.
Can I tell you, one of my clients, there was a time, this was 10 years ago, I guess, I was training pretty much full time, and I had a bunch of wealthy clients. And one woman, she and her husband, they had no kids, and he was obviously cheating but she stayed because of the wealth.
The lifestyle.
She stayed because they had a certain social standing in New York City. There was a lot of money, and she was living a certain life, and that was what it was.
And listen, that is a conscious, empowered choice, right? You're going, all right.
She constantly seemed angry. The only reason I bring it up that I wonder about her health is she didn't seem like a happy person.
Right.
She seemed miserable and angry, and I don't know that that's healthy either.
It's not healthy, but if someone decides to stay under those circumstances, they're not a victim.
Right.
They're making that choice. They're saying, okay, I'm going to make this choice no matter how much it costs me. And it will cost you.
Yeah.
It will
Yeah.
cost you.
Okay, so let's just break this down.
Mm-hmm.
Cheating is not cheating is not cheating is not cheating is not cheating.
That's right.
The more I started to think about this, all right, let me tell my story. Let me explain to you why I wanted to do this show.
Okay.
I would honest to God like your opinion.
All right.
All right. So I have a gym friend. Let's call her Jane. My friend Jane from the gym. And the reason I call her a gym friend is because she's not like one of my close friends who I love and have a lot in common with. She's someone who I've known for over 20 years from the gym, and we're gym friends. I see her at the gym. Occasionally, a group of us will go out and, because we've got like a little core group of people. We've all been members there for 20 years. We're gym friends. I care about this woman. I would, in the past, I've done her favors and, reciprocal. And, we had actually we were getting closer. Well, several years into our relationship, as I got to know her better, she confided in me that she only dates married men. And I didn't understand that. I don't understand that decision because I think women have to have each other's backs. I think if you're a woman, I got to have your back. I'm not going to be banging your husband. I'm going to be looking after you. That's just how I feel women should. That's what I feel like women should. I should not impose my thoughts, but I think women should have each other's backs. So I don't understand a woman who knowingly targets married men with the knowledge that she is part of the destruction of another woman's marriage and possibly, God forbid, if there are children, all the collateral damage that goes along with cheating. And so I didn't love this about her, but I said to myself, Tara, don't judge. Be kind to her, be a friend to her. It's not your business to judge her. That's what I always told myself. Tara, it's not your business to judge her. Be her friend, be kind to her. Fast forward to this year. Now, this is I've known her 20 years. So fast forward to this year. It is Valentine's Day, February 14th, about 10 weeks ago. I was at the gym in the early evening, and I saw one of our mutual friends, another gal that, we've all been to the gym for 20 years. And I said, I wonder if Jane will be here tonight. Because one of the things that Jane always told me, one of the downsides of dating a married man is that you don't get holidays or weekends because the married man is with his family and or his wife. And this girl says to me this, and this, I almost vomited when I heard it. She says to me this. Now, keep in mind, Jane is older than I am. I'm almost 53. Jane's 25 years older than I am. She's a very young, gorgeous, vital 76, 77-year-old. She said to me this. She said, well, actually, Jane told me that she's actually been able to see her boyfriend with much more ease and regularity because her boyfriend's wife is so sick with dementia. She doesn't know what's going on, so they're able to do whatever they want. In that one moment, I lost any ounce of respect I had left for Jane. I became sick to my stomach at the idea of someone knowingly and willfully taking advantage of an elderly, sick woman who is defenseless. Do you know how sick that is? How sick are you in your head that you're cool with taking advantage of a woman who is defenseless? My grandfather died in a nursing home with dementia, out of his mind with dementia, wearing a diaper. Anybody who would take advantage of a sick person with dementia is sick herself. In that moment, I from February 14th to present day, I have completely backed off from my friendship with her because I can't look at her. I'm so sick to my stomach. And I don't know what to do because I feel guilty, like I'm judging her, like maybe I shouldn't, Tara, you're too judgmental. It's none of your business. And it is none of my business. And I am being judgmental. But there are certain people I just don't want to have communion with. I don't want in my circle. I don't want to be around racists.
Right.
I don't want to be around people who are homophobes, who are mean to gay people. I don't want to be around, and now I'll add this to the list. I don't want to be around people who take advantage of elderly sick people. I can't do it. I can't stomach it. I can no longer look her in the face.
As is your right? You don't have to. That's a very specific choice. You don't have to.
But do you understand as a therapist that I'm telling you, and I'd love other people's opinion. Up until I found out that one detail, I was like, Tara, be her friend, be cool, be kind to her. It's none of your business. But when I found out that, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
I get that.
The fact that you're taking, she can do whatever she wants now because now the wife is just so sick, they can get away with it.
So I really get that. And I empathize, and I'm not negating this at all. But I think what you are viewing Jane as someone who is also just completely healthy, mentally clear about her choices. And I don't know if that's the case. I'm not saying she is off her rocker, but someone who both laments the fact that she cannot have connection with her boyfriend because of the holidays.
Oh, she doesn't lament it. She just says that's the fact.
That's the fact.
Yeah.
But who has specifically chosen
This is her life.
to not have a close, intimate relationship. I don't know the history. She's not sitting in front of me. Is someone that has a particular mindset. That's her mindset. But it's not someone who is consciously thinking in a healthy, perhaps, manner.
Well, I remember one time I had a conversation with her. This was before this whole February 14th thing happened. And I just said to her, very honestly, I said, I could never do what you do just because I'm a very honest person. And I literally, if I tell a lie, I get a stomach ache. It's not worth it for me to lie because then I suffer. So I just deal with the consequences of the truth. That's just me. And she said to me this, she goes, I'm a very honest person except for this one thing. Isn't that kind of like shoplifting food and saying, I don't steal, just food?
Or it's like someone saying to you, Tara, I have been working out and eating well, but instead every night at 9:00, they're eating something, not because they want to or because it's good for them, but because there is something emotionally and psychologically that is driving them to do something that is not great for them. Now, let me be really clear here because I think it's important. I'm not saying this woman is not mentally healthy when I said healthy, but I have known people who specifically want to be in non-committed relationships. They don't want to go deeper. They choose people who are unavailable, and they're very conscious of it. Then there are other people who do the same thing, choose unavailable people, and then go, why do I keep getting my heart broken? Why do I keep getting my heart broken? Who do know there's something off. So I think it's important to separate out the two.
She's the first group. She's never been married. She's always preferred to date married men. And she has no scruples about it. It doesn't matter that she's hurting another innocent woman. It doesn't matter if there are children who are getting, in other words, to me, it is so selfish. One of the reasons I don't want to be friends with her, I mean, I'm kind to her. I say hello. I will never not be kind to her. But I don't want that energy around me because that is so selfish to not care about the other woman, the children and grandchildren. I mean, just to be so reckless with your decisions is so selfish. I cannot put words to describe. I don't even have words.
And choosing people who also are reckless, right? Continuing to choose married men who also
are pigs,
whose family is standing behind them. So it's this partnership by two people who are saying, we are going to be reckless. Your friend happens to be single. The married man, is not.
Correct.
So that participation also carries a great big amount of weight. She's saying, I'll never have to worry about getting involved with this person. The sex is great, the company is great,
and he gives her money.
He gives her money, but I don't have to give anything else because maybe I'm not capable of that. I don't know. He, or it could be a woman who's also, he has a lot more emotional baggage if he has a wife or spouse,
maybe children,
and children. So it's really tough to think that people consciously and deliberately choose people who are married, but the underlying thing is,
she told me
it's
she
hard
did.
to think about. It's hard to say, oh my gosh, how could someone do that? It's a very specific choice, sometimes for conscious reasons, sometimes for not.
Well, I think she's messed up in the head. I think she's totally. You have to be somewhat messed up in the head to be okay with destroying another woman's or participating in, because it takes the man and it takes my friend and the cheating husband to be okay, to be totally fine, to sleep at night. She sleeps at night and she's hurting another woman.
At least on the surface, right? We have no idea what she's like at home. We have no idea if
She seems very happy. I've known her 20 years. She seems very happy-go-lucky.
It could be true, but a public face is not a private face. So it's important to know that. Nor should you step into that territory.
I don't want to be friends. I don't want
to.
Yeah.
But I think this is why this is such. It was great that we're going to talk about this tonight, because it's so complex and it's not just black and white. When I was thinking about coming here, I was thinking it's almost like the parent whose kids have been out trick-or-treating, and later on the kids wake up and find that their parent has gone and eaten all the candy. They love their kids, but if they've got a sugar addiction, it doesn't matter. They're going to get their fix wherever they can. And people go, oh my God, how could you do that to your children? They're not thinking at the time.
Well, you're scratching an itch.
Yes.
But it's like, okay, grow the hell up. I said hell. I don't know if I'm... Grow up. It's like if you... Here's my attitude. If you don't want to be married, that's great. Don't be married. But don't get married and then cheat. Like, just don't be married.
It's not so easy. And there are so many factors. Again, I go back to what you do for a living besides being, a host. But when you're training people who say, I really want to get in shape. And then weeks go by. I know you're a great trainer, and they're not committed. You're kind of like, why aren't you committed? Maybe mentally they are, but psychologically and emotionally there's baggage. And we know there is.
Right.
Willpower is not the same as why power. So someone saying, I'm never going to cheat again, but they never resolve why they do it in the first place, probably is going to go back.
In this case, the husband and this Jane, they're not saying I'm not going to do it again. They're cool with everything. They're cool. They sleep at night, whatever. But do you understand that what set me off was when I found out that they were taking advantage of a sick woman who's defenseless?
I understand that.
Do you understand that was just the one thing I couldn't handle and I was done?
I get that. And you're allowed to make that choice, and they're probably behind them or him is a tremendous amount of stuff and feeling and need that can't be met by someone who has lost the capacity to think.
Yeah, but this affair's been going on for years.
Yes.
So
but if it's been going on for years, then that's a very deliberate choice.
Yeah.
And it's very callous.
That's what I'm
to
saying.
be like, okay, now we can be free and open.
Yeah.
I really get that.
That's what I'm, now, Chad, are you listening to this?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have an opinion as a guy? Because what do you think? I mean,
personally, I'm a one and done type of guy.
So, like, you would not stay.
No. Well, I don't think the truth is I think this is really such a gray area that it really depends on the offense, the instances. I mean, marriages are cyclical.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. It's also like, well, was it a one night stand? Was it a short term thing?
Yeah.
Was it half of your marriage?
Was it a romance? Was there affection? I mean, I want to say I can separate sex from romance and sex from love, and I know a lot of people claim they can. You're the experts on that. Is that a real thing or not? But there's a lot of that involved. I mean, are you with this person because of feelings or absence of feelings with me? I mean, there's a lot to go on here.
See, the reason I wouldn't stay is just because I cannot be exhausting myself wondering if it's going to happen again. And when something happens once, then I'm thinking, well, it can always happen.
That's because you know yourself so well.
Yeah, that's just me. If it happened to me, I would be done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I wish you well, and not in a mean way, not like in a I hate you bastard way. Look, I wish you the best. I still love you, but I'm done.
Well, yes, that is the initial impulse, and you should honor that. But what I've seen is when people go, I want out of here, but I want to know why. Sometimes the information that they hear about why it happened is transformative for them.
Right.
Robert says he would personally end the relationship and just try to move on. I realize it's easier said than done, but I would definitely have to end it and move on.
That's what I said. I know it's easier said than done. I know it would be sad and horrible.
Right.
But again, I know myself. I cannot lie around wondering, God, I wonder if it's happening again. Or every time he's late from work. Wait a second, is he really late from work? Or like I can't live like that. I don't want to live like that.
And again, some people, that's it. But some people say, wait a minute, there's something here, that inner voice that I need to look at within myself. And I don't believe, as you know, I don't believe in 50-50. I don't think it's always like, oh, if there's problems in a relationship, it's 50-50. Sometimes it's 1% 99. Sometimes it's 100% the other person. But if there's something in you that's saying, there's unfinished business here, then find out what that unfinished business is.
I would find out. I would hear it. I would want to, for my own edification, I would want to go through that, but I would be done. So that's all. And again, not in a mean way. I was raised by a mother who she always said that. She always said, that's where I draw the line. Like I don't put up with that. I was raised with that belief that that's what you do. And it is what I believe. I know what I can handle. Just like I told you, I get nauseous when I lie. So there's not worth lying. I would be racked. I would never sleep again if I had to wonder.
I know. And the trust thing is the trickiest piece to rebuild.
Yeah. So basically, let's take this from the top. You say that infidelity can either be the end, for me, for Chad, for, the end of a relationship or the restart. And you said that, again, what comes to light can often be what restarts and what heals the relationship.
That's right. So whether there are sex issues, communication issues, change of the status of the relationship, right? So you start out as these two individuals very much in love, and then a lot of things come into play. Outside things, inside things. So some people it's children, some people it's caregiving, some people lose their jobs, some people go back to work. All of that stuff changes you. And I read this wonderful article. I have to cite it, but it was in the New York Times, I believe. And it says, we're not just one person all the way through the relationship. We are 1, 2, 3, 4 different people from start to end. So the person who started may be like, that's it, I'm out. But the person midway through might say, I still want to hang in here. And there's still something good here, and I'm willing to go forward. It could be that. But all of those things impact a relationship. And the restart part is, gee, I didn't know you felt that way about me. Let's address that and see where we go with it. I didn't know you had trouble expressing your anger or your needs, or I didn't know we weren't having sex enough, or gee, let's talk about that. What's wrong with our sex life? Or all of that stuff can be wonderful areas to explore.
Yeah. But for some people, you just can't recover.
You just can't recover. You just can't, and nor should you try. If you're done, you're done. You know it. You can feel it. I've known couples who've parted, and it's like, I'm done. And then years later, not that they get back together, but they run into each other, and there's warmth and affection and remembrance of what was good, and a recognition that they couldn't go on from that point, but that they still are bonded in some way.
Yeah. See, I guess I'm the kind of person, the reason I would, if I'm the kind of person, if there's a problem in the relationship, if you're having trouble expressing your anger, if we're not having enough, so whatever the problem is, I want you to be able to deal with that issue without having sex with someone else.
That would be the ideal. But some people don't know how to say, hey, what's going on? Or, hey, they withdraw, they retreat. They have not been given the tools.
Right. So then that's not a guy for me.
You wouldn't be choosing that
guy. I
guy.
wouldn't. That's just not for me. You say that, there's an unconscious desire to get caught with everybody, you think?
Not with everybody, no. But I can't tell you how many times I've experienced having couples who walk in and the email is open, or they find a photo, or there's text on a phone. If you're having an affair, secrecy is probably the number one thing you want to hold on to. But they discover it because their partner, quote unquote, air quotes, forgets to shut that email account down, or forgets to shut off their phone. And on some level, there is an unconscious desire to be caught. The guilt is driving that recklessness. Because that's what it is, yeah.
All right, now there are different types of infidelity. This is the part that I found the most interesting because, again, I do know this. Again, to my knowledge, I've never been cheated on, but who knows in my younger years, you know what I'm saying? Like now that I think about, when I really stop and think about it, I think there are two people years and years and years ago that it, you know, character-wise, it could have, but I wasn't aware. I never knew about it. Let's put it that way. So I don't know that I've ever been cheated on because, again, if I did know it, I would just say, thank you, done. But there are different ways. Like, for example, a one-night stand.
Right.
You just go out, the guy's out with his buddies.
Work function or someone that you flirted with at the office. You're at a conference, you're at the bar, you're at the holiday party. All of a sudden,
you're in the coat closet.
You're in the coat closet. And it's a one-night stand of passion. You get to be, and this is an interesting thing, you get to be a different person than just the mom or the dad or the caretaker.
The soccer coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that person who you have great fun with at work, who doesn't see your life outside of that, gives you a look, and they're dressed beautifully, and so are you, and there's alcohol, and it's a one-night stand. So that is much more recoverable in a relationship, believe it or not.
Right. Well, because it's what Chad said. There's no emotion.
There's no emotion. It's just sex.
It's just stupidity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Serial infidelity, which would be like a series of one-night stands. Is that what you're talking about? Like
a series of one-night stands, or the person you meet says, yeah, I left so-and-so for so-and-so, or I was in a relationship and I ended up falling in love with someone else. And you hear through stories that the relationship they always are leaving the last person for somebody else. But
they're still with the last person when they meet the somebody else.
That's right. Or the other thing, and we've talked about this when we talked about relationships, or they're unable to go beyond what I call the fun romantic phase. They have a series of 2-year relationships, which is when there's a lot of intimacy and spark. And then 2.5 years is when things get deeper, and often people run into trouble and they can't navigate the deepening of the relationship.
Also, wouldn't serial infidelity be like, wasn't Halle Berry married to that guy that Benet? No, what was his name? I don't remember his name. He was a tall black man. And the whole time he was with her, he was just cheating around.
Right.
You know, that's like, you know,
exactly.
That's he didn't leave Hallie, but he was just cheating around.
Yeah, he was just out, going out and sleeping with other people.
Okay, so that would be another.
So yes, either series of one-night stands, or having short-term affairs, or leaving one person for the other.
Yeah. Cyber. See, this online, ever since the internet has, the last 20 years or so.
Yeah. This is an epidemic.
It's very easy because like before, you actually had to put on clothes and leave your house, and you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like you had to actually
had to put some effort into it.
You had to put some effort in. Whereas now somebody could ping you on Facebook that you went to high school with, and
well, that's a very interesting phenomenon, actually. So you have one that, you have a bad day, you go online, something catches your eye, and all of a sudden you're down the hole of searching. You're on a dating site or a married man.
Yeah, like you have a fight with your husband.
Yeah.
You go to bed angry, and your husband's down in the living room, and he's like, well, screw her. And he just starts, AshleyMadison.com. Yeah.
Right. Or instead of drinking, you're releasing tension from work through cruising through different sites. And then there's this phenomenon that's been happening of people fishing, fishing line for past romances via Facebook or social media. So someone's like, wow, the kids are really bothering me, and I'm so exhausted. I'm fighting with my wife. I remember Tara Marie.
Yeah,
back in the day. Let me friend her.
I've had people contact me out of the blue. I just always go, "Hey, great, bye."
Right.
Yeah,
because you didn't pursue it. And then there's
never even occurs to me that they're. I just go, "Hi, nice to see you."
Well, sometimes it is, and sometimes it's, "Oh, I remember when." And then if you start to engage, now a dialogue starts. And here's the thing about online, and many people know that it is a false intimacy. right? It's very anonymous to some degree, even though that person might know you from high school.
Right.
But they don't know, they could be sitting in the dark, with, I can't even imagine.
No, you're sitting there with your underwear
Right.
and underwear and a t-shirt.
Exactly.
I'm wearing negligee. I'm
That's
wearing a
right.
satin negligee.
Right.
Yeah.
And wow. And so it's all about fantasy and a false sense of intimacy.
Yeah.
Intimacy. That's why sometimes people who get into quick relationships with online dating, when they meet the person, they are stunned or shocked, one, because of who walks in the door, but also that there's been a lot of misrepresentation. And we tend to reveal more when it's anonymous. You find yourself sharing things with people online that you shouldn't be, and you wouldn't if you were dating them in person. Not a good thing. But that's why this thing starts to occur, this cyber connection, this infidelity online.
Well, also with like, which one is it? Swipe right, swipe left. Was that Tinder? I don't even.
Tinder, I think, yeah.
My God. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm old. That's just not how we did things. I don't get it.
I think people were picking up people all the time. Back in the day, I think people went to bars. They placed personal ads. I mean, I don't think that phenomena is necessarily a bad thing as long as you know exactly what you are doing. I want a one-night stand. That's what I'm going for. But if you go into it going, I hope this turns into a long-lasting relationship, you are setting yourself up for
dreaming.
Disappointment.
This is the one that I think would kill us all, the long-term affair.
Yes.
So I did a lot of reading in preparation for today. This one married couple, they had been married 10 years. He had been having an affair for 5 of them. That would devastate. That would be... That's not a one-night stand in the coat room.
No, that's another relationship. That's a co-current.
That's like
parallel.
what my friend Jane is doing.
It's like a parallel relationship.
That's what Jane is doing. Jane is the long-term girlfriend, whatever she putan of the yeah. You can't recover from that. No.
I don't know many people. I don't think I've known anyone who could recover from that.
No,
because it is a separate relationship, and sometimes the one that is, I don't think anyone's recovered from this. So we have the long-term sexual relationship. Oh, we meet at the Motel 6 every Wednesday night just for sex for 4 years in a row. I've known people who've had that kind of relationship. No judgment. It's just the way it is. Or we meet at the Motel 6 and it's sex and dinner, another combination. Or it's not really about sex. It's that we go out to dinner. I'm sharing my life with you, and I'm not sharing it with my husband or wife at home. Very, very difficult to come back from.
I could not. Yeah, that would be kind of done. Short-term affair, like a 6-week thing, while the wife was pregnant. I've heard that a lot of affairs happen in the wife's 7th month of pregnancy.
Wow,
I've heard. Chad, Google that. I've heard that.
I'll look it up.
Chad, have you heard that, Chad?
I have not. No.
I've not heard that.
Nope.
I thought I have read that it's very common for the man to stray in the wife's 7th month of pregnancy. Think about what happens in the 7th month of pregnancy. Pregnancy becomes kind of uncomfortable. The woman can barely sleep. There's not a comfortable position to turn. It's uncomfortable.
It's such an interesting
I hope I'm right now that I've said that, Chad. Please,
it's like the
God,
7-year itch, right? It's kind of 7
Well, the thing about, again, when you're about 8 weeks away from delivery, you're uncomfortable. You're very uncomfortable. Some women get swelling.
Yes.
It's hard to find a position to sleep. It's just hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find anything that fast on this.
She's not. Can you look on? Do you have a computer, honey?
I'm looking at it. Just doesn't say.
7th month of pregnancy and affairs. But I thought that unless I'm dreaming, that's what I heard. A lot of men stray right around the 7th month.
Well, again, it something
and
has impacted the relationship.
The reason I brought that up, a short-term affair, like a 6-week thing, or
that never happens again. Is that recoverable for a couple? Yes.
Not for me.
Yes.
Not for me. If you're no. Okay. Now, emotional, just intimacy. So just an emotional affair.
Devastating.
Now, here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. Different people have, and we can talk about this in a minute, but different people have different ideas about what cheating is. Like, some people would not be comfortable with their partner meeting with a friend of the opposite sex and going out and enjoying lunch or dinner with like for some people it's not feels like fertile ground. They're not
right.
But this one, like an emotional affair would be where there's no sex involved. It's just the confiding and the...
Well, the rule of thumb is, are you confiding or sharing with that other person something that you cannot or won't tell your partner? And why not? If you're sharing with your good friend that you're considering, leaving your job, or you're feeling depressed, but you're not sharing that with your partner, there's something off there. Why?
And see, that would hurt my feelings if I were the partner.
Yes. And are you making that choice based on your own selfishness? Or are you making that choice because your partner says, I don't want to hear about it? I mean, what's the reasoning behind that? That's worth exploring.
But see, to me, an emotional affair is the precursor to a full-blown...
That's right. All of a sudden you're on the phone, or you're emailing, or you're texting your good friend, jokes, funny things that happen. What you're doing is you're pulling away, diverting the energy
that you would be giving to
That's right, for your own relationship to thrive. And listen, people are complex and vulnerable, and relationships are rocky at times because the length of them, what you go through.
Well, relationships are living things.
They are.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful way of putting it. They're living things. So not everyone is a knight in shining armor or a princess all the time. It can't be. And if that combination happens where you're both vulnerable, you're both sick of it, whether you've been up for nights with the kids or whatever it is, that's when people stray. That's when the vulnerability to getting that look from that guy at the office, and you're like, oh, wow.
My husband had, a physical affair. Does this really happen? Just sex? Where it's just a physical affair?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Where it's a very specific choice by one person who does not want to leave their primary relationship, but either they're not getting satisfied or there's a problem. And again, to do it without their partner's permission, I think, is not a great thing. But they're just going out and getting their sexual needs met. Or, Tara, it's an addiction. Or they're just going out, right? Yeah. The compulsiveness, they're using sex not just for the pleasure of it, but for the release of emotional and psychological tension.
And then the one that would kill us all, physical and emotional, completely falling in love with another person.
Yeah, that's it. There's no coming back from that.
Okay.
But the interesting thing, this is funny, not funny, haha, but often the person you have the affair with, it doesn't survive the relationship ending. Meaning, if you are married and you have an affair with so-and-so, Jane, and you leave your relationship for Jane, often that relationship with Jane does not last.
But that's because it's no longer an affair. It's
right.
It's not an affair. Then it's just another real relationship where you have to pay the bills. Somebody has to pick up the dry cleaning. Somebody's got to go to the grocery store.
Exactly.
Did you take out the trash? Of course.
That's right. So it's interesting to think about, oh, that's who I really want. Over here's not what I want anymore. But that person that you fantasize about eventually will crash into reality.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Chad, did you find anything about the 7-month? No?
No, nothing. It just said if men are going to cheat, men are going to cheat.
So it doesn't say anything about the 7th month of pregnancy?
No, it doesn't say anything about that being.
All right, I'm going to find something. I'm going to look on my computer and I'll find it, because I've heard that before, and it made sense to me, having worked a lot with pregnant women, that they just get so uncomfortable.
Right.
They're uncomfortable,
right? And
maybe they don't feel so sexy, So that's reality.
Don't want to be touched.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah. Okay, so one time. Okay, so you say that one time is a warning for the relationship, but serial is something that, so when you say one time is a warning for the relationship, what do you mean, like a 6-week affair or
No, I would say, well, a short-term affair, yes. I don't want to say 6 weeks is the cutoff, but a short-term affair that doesn't go into 6 months. I mean, it's a short-term thing. Either the person shares it and says this happened, or they don't, or is caught, or they don't, and that's done. They're scared to death and they never do it again. and they learn something and then go through transformation. The way I talked at the top of the show, this transformation happens and they go, oh, that's what I got to look at within myself, and that's what I've got to work on in my relationship.
Well, and you said some causes or reasons for infidelity. And again, this is okay. And I understand all of these. I get all of these, but like you said, relationships, we're people, we're human beings, and we go through stress. And my attitude is this: if you're feeling emotionally neglected, or like you can't, if you're feeling any of these things, which I understand all of them, why use cheating as a form of coping? Why not? Do you understand? Like, to me, that's a very immature choice. Like, oh, I'll just cheat. That to me is very immature. Children, like my nieces and nephews, that's how they think. I want this to feel the way I want. I want this now.
Right.
That's how children are.
So let's use an example. Let's talk about a young couple that got married right out of high school, right? Emotionally young.
Yeah.
19, 20, whatever it is. They start off their marriage, and then they don't know each other because
they don't know themselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
They all of a sudden they end up with 2 kids, and they're in a relationship, and things start to change. And one says to the other, "I wish we could talk more," and the person says, "That's not who I am." And they keep saying, "I wish we could talk more." Or maybe they didn't know how to say that. They didn't learn how to say that. Mm-hmm. So they go and get their primary needs met, which is that someone
available, someone at work.
That's
someone,
right.
Yeah.
Says, "I think you're the best thing. You look beautiful, or you're so handsome," and you don't have the emotional capacity or language to understand why you're doing it. You're just going to get a need fixed.
So here's my question. Why not? Okay, so if I were in a relationship and I had the urge to cheat, I would think, wow, there's something really wrong and missing in my relationship. And what I would do is I would get out of my relationship or whatever, then I would just go explore other options. Why do you have to cheat? That's what I don't understand.
Because not everyone has that awareness. No, not everyone has that willingness, wantingness to say, what's wrong with this picture? They just feel the primal urge. They feel the escape. Let me escape from this misery or pain I'm in. And only after the fact, and even then, sometimes they're not even aware of why it happened. They think, oh my gosh, that wasn't a great thing to do. In the moment, it's the Halloween candy with the kids. I want it now. It feels good, tastes good. Give it to me. That's what happens.
So causes or reasons for infidelity. And I don't even believe that this is the full list because, like I said, I've seen women interviewed who said, we had a great sex life. Both of them agreed. They had a great emotional connection. They had a lovely home life. They had beautiful children. Sometimes it's like you said, there's just kind of like something
clicks, and something that has nothing to do with that outside,
picture,
right?
That picture.
But things are changing. Kids always don't stay small. They leave the nest. Oh my gosh. Or all of a sudden, I've been promoted to VP and my husband's been downsized. Oh, there's a power balance difference. Still think he's handsome. We have a great sex life. But now I feel a little bit different, and I'm radiating out a different energy, and people are drawn to that. Whoa. Or my husband feels lonely or sad, and he can't.
And he shut me out.
He shut me out.
So emotional neglect. Inability to express emotional needs, which again, a lot of people shut down when they...
That's right.
But what pisses me off is if you're going to shut down to your wife, but then open up to the chick at work, that's not, it's not...
Well, here's where the confusion happens. People confuse sexual intimacy with emotional intimacy, right? They look for closeness and connection through sex because you feel that warm afterglow, perhaps. And they confuse that for real connection. But it's not what we know as emotional connection, which is both wonderful and ugly at times. So the inability to express your needs, if you're having a passionate affair, that's going to distract you for a while. It's going to feel great.
Yeah, it's a distraction. Yeah.
Totally a distraction.
Unexpressed anger or hurt towards your partner.
Right.
I can understand that.
Right,
I mean,
out. I'll show you.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'm gonna go bang the guy at work.
Yeah.
Change in relationships as new baby. I know instances where right around the age of 2, when the new baby turns about 2, the dude I've seen this. I've seen instances of this. The dude cheats and then they end up getting a divorce because it's kind of like you said, when they were a couple, when it was just the two of them and the wife was doting on him, he was, that was lovely, but he couldn't handle it when the new baby comes and then the new baby sucks up all the time and energy of the mom.
And not everyone really gets that. And I know that sounds funny, like you kind of get it mentally. You go, okay, things are going to change. But young parents, meaning parents with young children, how could they know until it happens? Things really change. The tiredness, the body changes, the need to give to another being and not so much, as you said, to each other. The seeing each other at worst, with baby food all over you, right? And even though you think, oh, I know this is going to happen, it does wear you down, and it takes a great deal of maturity and communication to say, I need to do something for myself that doesn't have to do with another person in order to recharge my batteries. Or how do I talk to my partner about the fact that she's just had a baby and is not interested, understandably so, many people, in having sex for a while? What do I do with that? How do I, take care of myself? Yeah. And to have a conversation about that, but not to make the choice to cheat as a solution.
That's what I'm saying. Right. I understand all of these emotions. I get everybody understands this, but just don't use cheating as your means of coping.
Well, again, people sometimes don't have this awareness. They're acting on impulse. I know, and they still make the choice anyway.
You brought this up, loss of former identity due to age or loss of career. I could totally picture that. Like if you get in a situation and the man was the breadwinner and the this and the woman, there are certain roles. And then when roles abruptly shift, depression can set in. With depression becomes withdrawal. Withdrawal becomes, you shut everybody out.
Right.
And then I get it.
Or you reach, I don't remember, this is you and I know this film, but some of your younger viewers may know it, Moonstruck. So
I never saw that. I never saw it. Well, Cher in it.
Well, Cher was in it, but there's a scene in which not a major character who's a college professor keeps having affairs with students. And he's explaining to Cher's mother why it happens. And he says, they see me as this wonderful, wise, full of information guy. And then they get into a relationship. They have nothing in common, and they start to see that this is just an older guy who they really can't relate to. But that fantasy is why people get into affairs. Yeah. Right? It's, oh, my gosh, she's the professor, or she's the great lawyer. Wow, what a...
It's not only that. He liked being seen that way.
That's
right. He probably goes home and his wife says, take out the trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's not so in awe of him.
That's right. That's why you often, this is just a little side note, sometimes relationships that start with actors who have a tremendous amount of pressure on them, but the person who started out originally with the actor who then goes on to be a superstar drops away because they still want their partner to take out the garbage and be their normal selves. Yeah. And things change so dramatically that it can't stay
Relationships
the same.
are hard. It's like you said, because if you're in a long-term relationship, let's call long-term like even the short 15 years, you're probably 3 different people in 15 years.
That's exactly right.
I know in the last 15 years, I've probably been 3 different. In the last 15 years, my mother has died. Like all these things have happened in my life that have been like life-changing events.
That's right.
You change.
Yeah. And people sometimes change together in a nice way, and sometimes they're at opposite style. They're at opposite ends of changing. And it's to say to the other person, I'm going to hang in there, though. We're going to stay together. I'm going to make the choice not to step out of this relationship and cheat with another person. Or if I do, I'm going to find out what that's about.
When you also say inability to be emotionally intimate due to past trauma, I've also heard veterans, wives say, I don't know. I mean, like he came back from the second tour in Iraq and he had PTSD and he doesn't talk to me. He doesn't talk to the kids. He doesn't talk to anybody. He's just a shell. And I don't know what to do.
That's the thing. What do you do?
Well, I wouldn't have an affair on the poor guy.
Well,
but
that's true. But let's say that's going on, and then somebody at a club or an association that you belong to is giving you love and attention or affection or warmth.
Yeah.
You don't think you're the type of person that would have an affair, but maybe you need it so badly that you slip into it. it usually comes out of a great deal of need and also conflict, unresolved conflict.
God. Okay, so let's talk about some signs of infidelity. See, and that's the thing. I like, we're going to say these signs, but like I said, I've seen women interviewed who said, I had no idea. Like, he called and a lot of times, and this is also true, a lot of jobs, I know a lot of people who have jobs that take them on trips constantly, people who are gone 10 days a month for work.
Yeah.
People who are in long distance relationships where one lives on the East Coast, one lives on the West Coast. I mean, like, there's
stuff that you don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, all right. So nonverbal behavior, you say emotional withdrawal or a change in appearance.
Right. Either way, a lot of times people who are having an affair feel good about themselves, right? They're getting attention. They feel passion. They might drop weight. They might change the style of how they're dressing. They might, be more feminine, be more masculine. So it's not that they, nobody really goes the opposite way and feels terrible, when they're feeling adored and
but all of a sudden he's working out 4 times a week.
That's right.
And
there can be a big change.
Verbal behavior. What kind of verbal behavior?
Well, it's snapping at your partner. Picking fights.
Yeah, I was going to say picking a fight so you have an excuse to stomp out.
That's right. I'm leaving. You already had planned to. How could you treat me that way?
God.
Justifying, stepping out, going to meet your lover, whoever it is.
And then also, if he picks a fight with you, and then he goes, "Well, I'm leaving," then he can blame you.
That's right.
So it's a nice, tidy little package.
So noticing again, fights are fights, and they happen in relationship. But the provoking of fights, to notice that pattern. So it's a pattern of all of a sudden your spouse, who is always one way, is now picking fights or acting differently. Something's going on.
Personality issues, like what would that be?
Again, I call that personality issues of becoming sullen, being...
so a noticeable change in
noticeable
personality.
Changes from the regular, became euphoric, or it could be things of addictive behaviors picking up. All of a sudden they're drinking more. I know it sounds funny, but guilt causes people to drink. Or substance abuse, things like that. The behavior becomes erratic.
Okay. Family legacy, you mean like the Kennedys?
I can't believe I have that note there.
You wrote it like that, yeah.
There
I
is...
think in the Kennedys, in the Kennedys, I think there was, from the reading I've done, there was just kind of a look the other way attitude, like this is just what it is.
So what if you see that and you grow up with that? You don't even have the words for it, both as a woman and a man. So let's say you're a daughter who sees her father have affairs and sees her mother tolerate it. Chances are you're going to choose someone like that. You're not necessarily going to be step out. Same thing. If a son sees his mother have a lot of affairs and sees the father tolerate it, or you adapt the behavior of the person you identify with the most. So if a son identifies with his father and sees this kind of behavior and it's acceptable,
he'll also have affairs and
That's
such.
right. You see this with political figures. You see it with artists. You see it with actors. And if you look into their past, you can often find a family history of either affairs or trauma in some way.
The research I was doing for this show was saying that people of higher economic status possibly cheat a little more because, in other words, like if I'm rich and I cheat and the marriage falls apart, I got my own money. What's the big, like I've got my own money. I've got my own, I
can get away with it. Though I think cheating is universal across all economic levels. But I think that if you can buy your way to happiness by having affairs and discarding relationships, you might. Yeah. If you can do that, you can do that.
Jane, my gym friend who chooses to date married men, that's just her lifelong pattern. Her father was a serial philanderer. She told me.
So look at both sides of the coin. One is it's an acceptable form of behavior, and the impact on her, probably because what she witnessed, the impact on the family, makes people distrustful about being emotionally close to people. When we're hurt, we retreat. Why risk it? Why risk emotional closeness if that's the result?
I still am not going to give her a pass, though, for hurting other women. I can't get past that. I cannot wrap my brain around a woman who would say, yeah, I'm cool with it. I'll be a part of the destruction of another woman's marriage. I'm okay with that. I don't think she has a lot of female friends. I don't think she has a lot of female friends.
That's an interesting choice, right? So if you're not surrounding yourself with women who would reflect back to you what it would be like if they were cheated on, then you never have to deal with it. Again, looking at her, and you don't have to engage with her or not, but opening up the camera lens, widening the shot and saying, this is not someone who, no matter how cavalier they are, she's just shared some things with you about her past, who is wanting or willing to face some of the unresolved stuff. That's my snapshot view.
Right. So her method is to hurt another woman. That's my snapshot view. Mm-hmm. And if you're cool with that, I don't want to be friends with you because I think that's mean.
Right. And you don't. And that's the thing. You don't have to tolerate that.
Yeah. Secrecy, signs of just like kind of like, I know this one where like he doesn't want you to see who he's texting.
That's right.
Where it's like suddenly a big deal. Who are you? Who cares? Who you know?
Right.
Yeah.
What? Who's on the phone? Oh, no one. Or why where are you going? Oh,
nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
if no one's on the phone and you're going nowhere.
Yes. Then something's wrong. If no one's on the phone and you're going nowhere,
I think that's a sign.
Yes.
I do, and I'm not even a psychotherapist.
I think that's a sign.
Change in amount of time together. Like all of a sudden.
Gotta spend time with those people, have to travel. I didn't know your job had travel. Yes, it's been added. Change in regular behavior.
Now, what do we do? Okay, so healing. How do you stay in the relationship? Okay, so stay in the relationship and heal, or leave the relationship and heal. Either way, you're going to have to heal.
Yes.
Okay, so I wouldn't even know where to start. I mean,
so either
to me, and also, you know why this is so devastating? Because there's so many emotions. Like, again, let's picture the woman or the man. Let's not just pick on men. Let's picture the woman or the man who is just completely caught off guard. Just completely caught off guard. Honestly, had no. You still love the person who cheated on you, but you're so pissed.
Right.
And your feelings are so hurt, and trust is blown. And then you start doubting, well, am I too fat? Like then you start wondering about yourself. Like it's just this cacophony of emotions that
need to run their course, that need to be felt and expressed and heard by the person who's hurt you.
Where do you start? What do you do?
You walk into a therapist's office and you start to address it, and you start to have those conversations full out in a safe environment about what went wrong here.
And there's a lot of screaming, right? You've worked with couples.
I work.
There's a lot of screaming, I would imagine.
There is yelling. There's tears. There is bitterness. There are people who walk out and then walk back in. The thing that I think. So let's talk about the person who's done the cheating.
Yeah.
Often they think that
they were justified.
Well, not justified. Saying how sorry they are
is going to fix it.
And that they're often surprised that it will take 200, 2,000, 10,000 times of saying I'm sorry.
You know what else I think it is? And Dr. Phil says this. It's not, let's say I've cheated on a guy. It's not me saying I'm sorry. It's him understanding that I get it, what I did to him.
That's right.
So because I could say, I'm sorry. I said I was sorry. But the person who has been cheated on has to understand that the cheater understands the gravity of what he or she did.
And we'll have to hear that many, many, many times.
And don't complain about it. Right. Because if you don't want to hear it, just don't cheat.
And yes, and to also, and this doesn't happen initially at all, but at a certain point, the person who's been cheated on
has to zip it.
Well, make a decision of whether they want to really heal or not, because they have that right to say I'm out of here or not. But if they are not allowing any of the deep angst or sorrow of the person who cheated on them to be in the room, there's nowhere to go. But they don't have to do that right away.
Right.
Nor should they. But really key, and that whole thing about broken trust, it's about showing by example in thought, word, and deed that you are trustable again.
I don't know how you do that.
If I say I'm going to be home at 6, I am home at 6 for the next 6 months. If I am writing something and you want to see it, I open up my laptop, my phone, I show you. And thought, word, and I tell you either how much I get that it hurts you and how much I want this to work.
The reason, again, I hear everything you're saying. The reason I could not do it is because I am not going to be with you 24 hours a day for the rest of our lives.
Right.
And you were able to do it before. Therefore, my thought will always be, is he? And I do not want to live like that.
Totally understand.
And since I don't want to live like that, you have to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally get it. And some people, for all the reasons we talked about at the beginning of the show, say there's too much here with kids and this and whatever to walk away.
Can I say this? I get that. See, and I'm talking as a single person who owns my own home, who doesn't have to tolerate any BS. I get that if you are married, your husband or the other wife, or whomever, is the primary breadwinner. There are small children involved who everybody's got to live somewhere. There are financial constraints. I get it that it's not so cut and dry.
Right.
I get that. And I feel terrible because I think a lot of those people only stay for those reasons.
Sometimes, yeah. And sometimes, but I'll say this. Listen, I haven't, I'm not the world's foremost expert on couples, though I've worked with a lot of couples, meaning I haven't written a book about couples, though I write about relationships. People who walk into my office genuinely, both sides, but let's talk about the cheater, genuinely have tremendous remorse. Now, so for some people, it's like, so what? Remorse is remorse. They are not walking in free and clear going, well, whatever. They are filled with a tremendous amount of sorrow and pain.
Good.
Right. I know.
Good. Good. I'm glad.
And they do need to feel that, but they are not cavalier. The ones who say, I want to figure this out. People who, and I have known them, who say, well, that's it. That's who I am and that's who I'll always be. They're not going to change.
To me, I think you'd see that during the dating phase. To me, that's not something that would surface after.
It might be showing. They might be showing you, but but love can have very funny, fuzzy glasses. Some people want to see what they want to see. So my classic thing is how someone treats you on the first date is how they're going to treat you the rest of the relationship. Are they on time? Are they polite? Are they attentive? I remember when I was dating years ago, sat with a guy in a bar and he was looking over my shoulder at other women. Sign, right? Couldn't help it. They would walk by, he would look, then he would look back at me, ask me questions, still wanted to date, out of there. That was a classic sign.
I would have been out of there before my drink arrived. Yeah.
You have my tolerance at the time.
Well, when you're younger, you're a little bit.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. When I was younger, I put up with. And that's what's so beautiful about getting old. Your BS meter gets very sensitive. I also want to bring this up because I thought about this, and for me, forgiveness and trust are two very separate things. And I would like to know if other people feel this way. If someone cheated on me, of course I would forgive him because I believe in forgiveness, selfishly. Mm-hmm. I forgive everybody of everything that's been done to me in the past and that's going to happen in the future. Mm-hmm. I forgive you because I don't want that kind of energy lingering around in my life. I just don't want it. So I forgive you. I wish everybody the best. I genuinely do. Right. Just not around me. Mm-hmm. That's how I am. But trust, I couldn't rebuild. So if I were with a guy and he cheated on me, I would 100% forgive him. But that doesn't mean that the trust would be shattered. And
Well,
do you understand? So
yes,
forgiveness and trust are two very different things.
They are two different things, and you have to decide whether trust can be rebuilt.
Yeah.
I've seen it be rebuilt. I always think of my mother, God rest her soul, who would say, "I forgive, but I don't forget." And what she was basically saying is, I'm not a fool. I know when someone has hurt me, I will forgive them, but I will approach with caution.
Yeah.
Going forward. Now, some people are able
you know what I do when
move past the caution.
When I forgive people, this is in friendship stuff. I always, like I said, I always believe in forgiveness, but I always make adjustments in my relationship. Like, in other words, I'll forgive you. I don't have to hang out with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that's a really healthy thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to be around people that you don't feel good about.
Right. So for me, as regards cheating, forgiveness and trust are two very different things. Karma. Another big reason I don't get it is because I just don't. I believe so much in karma. I remember when Tori Spelling used to have a reality show that may still be on, but years ago I actually watched it, and she famously met her husband Dean when she was married, and Dean was married. Dean's wife, in fact, they had just had a baby. I think it was an adoption, perhaps. But Tori and Dean met, left their spouses cold and dry, and they got together. And then Tori was shocked when Dean cheated on her.
Right.
I wasn't so shocked because Dr. Phil always says if they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you.
Right.
So I don't to me, if that's the kind of life you're leading, buckle up and get ready.
Yes.
Because there's bad stuff coming your way. I would never involve in that kind of stuff because I just don't want that kind of karma.
And so you're seeing a pattern. Patterns are really important to pay attention to. People who have serial divorces, serial relationships, serial monogamy. If you're looking to connect, get married, and someone you are dating has never been able to do that, they probably never will if they're at a certain age and they've walked away from relationships before. Notice the pattern.
But what I'm saying is if you cheat and you participate in cheating, don't be shocked when life hands you a lot of bad stuff. Don't be shocked.
Don't be shocked.
And I'm talking about my friend Jane. Like my friend Jane, who's not married but is willingly cheating with a married man. I just want Jane to understand that she shouldn't be shocked when life hands her what she may get. That's all I'm saying. Karma's a real bad thing.
Karma can show up in many different ways, but will be interesting, and it goes back to what we talked about earlier, is, again, if this person she's cheating with, if the condition of his wife deteriorates and she passes on, hopefully peacefully, and they end up having a lot of time to spend together, whether that relationship will last.
Probably not. That's not what she wants. All she wants is to be with a married man. That's all. So she'd go on to another married man who can pay her bills. Like, she has stipulations. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's really very messed up. Also, self-esteem. I think women and men who, like, to cheat with someone, what is wrong with your self-esteem that you are okay with being the side piece?
Well, that goes back to trauma.
Like, does that make sense?
Right.
Like, what is wrong with your head? Because I'm thinking now, I can think of Jane, and then a former client of mine. She also cheated with married men. She was single. And one of my girlfriends, who was more my age, cheated with a married man. I always think to myself, what is wrong with you in your head that you're cool being the side piece? Like, what is wrong with you?
Well, I like to switch it out of, like, in a more, and this is because I'm a therapist, to broaden out and to say, and maybe you're saying this, maybe not, compassionately, most people I know who do that as a pattern choose to be with people who discard them or have an unresolved trauma in their psyche. It just is. Now, I have to say this because it's really true. As I said before, I know there are certain people who are very, very happy who don't have any trauma, at least that they reveal.
This is just what they want.
This is what they want. But many people who think it's okay to be alone on the holidays, to be on the side, have something unresolved about how they feel about themselves.
And what I would say to that is, go get some therapy. Don't screw around with another woman's husband.
It's great advice. Some people have trepidation about therapy.
Oh my! So I'd rather screw around with another woman's husband.
Well, it's almost like the person who let's use another example. It's almost like the person who knows that alcohol isn't bad, but continues until they bottom out. And that's sometimes the only reason they change. And probably had people going, go to a therapist, go to an AA meeting. But until it gets bad enough, that's when someone will change.
Okay. And the final thing I want to say is, what I would never cheat with, I would never do what Jane is doing because I have higher standards. Why would I want to be with some pig? Like, to me, if you're willing to cheat on your wife, I don't want you. Do you understand me? Like, seriously, if you're the kind of man that would cheat on a woman, I don't want you.
But that's because of who you are and the work you've done on yourself. There are people who get involved with affairs because there are holes in their psyche, and they meet someone who on the outside, who happens to be married, fills those holes, and they allow that to happen. They're not even thinking. It's not a conscious thing. You're very conscious. You've done the work. There are some people who never have, and that's why they get drawn into affairs.
Okay. Chad? Is Chad there? Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I do. Hang on one second. But here's my main thought.
Okay. Have you been listening to this?
Of
like,
course.
Do you think it's interesting?
You know, you keep going back to like a woman who, excuse me, let me clear my throat here. A woman who purposely goes after married men. Well, I just think there's also something missing in her, that she doesn't think she deserves a full man. And that's why they're constantly going after, they don't feel like they deserve a full relationship. The waking up, the brushing teeth, the doing the holidays.
Well, she told me she doesn't want a full relationship.
But that might be the cover for thinking, and ultimately an underlying sense that they don't deserve a full husband, a full boyfriend, a full relationship. A lot of people don't think they're worthy of relationship.
But can I say this? And I get that. But don't hurt someone else to help yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, in other words, I take offense to someone who would knowingly hurt another woman.
Got a blinder onto that area.
Does that make sense, Chad?
A psychological blind
I get that she has low self-esteem. I'm sorry.
Never underestimate the power to compartmentalize.
Yes. Exactly. Okay. Very well put.
Are there any comments on Facebook? Because we're
let me look at that. There were a lot of people just said I'd walk away and wish them the best. No hard feelings and walk away.
Okay,
that
so
seems to be the main one.
It sounds like people kind of think the way I think. That yeah. All right. So, do you have any final thoughts? Because I think your final thought is this is so complicated.
Yes,
and it's not black and white.
Again, and the people I see in my office are not cavalier. They are not free, breezy, and easy about what's happened. And the couples that I see are in tremendous amount of pain. Yes, one person has it inflicted upon the other person, but you'd be surprised that even in the middle of that, there's a lot of love that can emerge.
That's why it would be hard to walk away, because you still love the person.
That's right.
But again, I just put a high premium on my peace of mind and sleeping at night, and I can't do it if I'm wondering.
Well, that's a core value, right? So that's a real core value that you have to honor. But it is complex, and it is very, very fascinating, all the reasons why people step out of their relationships.
So that's your final thought?
That is my final thought. More complex. I have a lot of compassion for people who struggle in that area. And
see, this is why you're a therapist.
That's right.
Because if Jane came to me, I would say, Jane, well, now this is going to sound like Saturday Night Live. I would say, Jane, you poor ignorant slut. Stop doing what you're doing. You are hurting another woman who has done nothing to hurt you. Stop it.
And she would nod at you and go, you know, Tara, you're absolutely right.
No, can I tell you something? I've confronted her.
She would walk out.
No, I confronted her once. And I said to her, this was years ago, before we had, and I said to her, don't you feel guilty? Like, you have no scruple, you have no qualms about it? And she said she feels like over the years, some of the men that she's dated, married men, she feels like she's actually done a service to the marriage, that she's helped keep them happy, the man happy, and then he goes home and he's better to his wife. She has deluded herself. She actually believes that she's sort of doing a public service to be the Upper West Side hoe.
Well, here's the thing. You named her age. At this point, I really
She's
doubt
not changing.
this isn't going to change.
This is her whole life.
This has been a pattern.
Yeah.
This has been a defense and a choice that she's not willing to give up. Not going to change.
Okay. Okie doke. Well, on that cheery note, I want to say, I love talking to you, Karol.
We have the thing to give. You have that? Okay.
Well, yes. I want to say, if you're hearing this as a podcast, because obviously we're doing this on Facebook Live, but if you missed this and you're hearing it as a podcast and you want to see the show, because you missed it on Facebook Live, go to youtube.com, Tara Marie Live, /Tara Marie Live. That's my Tara Marie Live. That's my channel, Tara Marie Live. Look for the video entitled "Overcoming Infidelity" with guest Karol Ward. When we post when the podcast drops, the video will also post on YouTube. You can also access my YouTube channel on my website, taramarie.com. I want to thank my guest, Karol Ward. Now, for more information about Karol or to purchase Find Your Inner Voice, or she has another book, Worried Sick, go to karolward.com. She has to be ornery. She spells Karol with a K. KarolWard.com. KarolWard.com. Now, she has it's new, right? The audio download, is it kind of new?
It's kind of new. Yeah.
So she's really good at, she's my go-to therapist, like for this show. And I've known you since 2008, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, we started.
That's right.
When I had the internet radio show where I had 4 listeners.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
We were hot.
Yeah, we were, no, with those 4 people, seriously, I was hot.
That's right.
Okay. She has an audio download called Straight Talk in Relationships, where you talk about a lot of relationship skills that a lot of us, again, when you get married, you're not given a book by the pastor or the priest or the rabbi how to be in a relationship. A lot of us don't know a lot.
That's right.
So the download is called Straight Talk in Relationships. You're giving our listeners a 30% discount, so it'll bring it down from $9.99 to $6.99. So let me say this link, and then I'm also, when I do the newsletter for my mailing list, I'll put the link in there.
Right.
Okay. So just listen. The link is karolward.com. KarolWard.com, karolward.com / Karol Ward - Tara Marie Live. Okay, karolward.com / Karol Ward - Tara Marie Live. And I want to thank you, Karol.
You did that so well.
What? Oh, that
was just you articulate things
well,
so well.
because I'm a host. Now it's time for a quick Tara Marie's tip. Karol, I'm going to let you listen to this.
Sure.
Listen, I am not a therapist, and we've discovered today that it's good that I'm not, because I'm not like Karol. I've worked with a lot of people. I've been a trainer for 33 years, and I've worked with all different kinds of populations. And it's funny because over a period of decades, you start to see patterns. And I want to point out, this relates to what we talked about today, but it also relates to my work as a trainer. I think it probably relates to any coach. It's the lies we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves lies. We all do, all of us. We tell ourselves lies to justify where we are and what we're doing. We tell ourselves lies to rationalize decisions we're making. And if you think about it, rationalize, if you break that down, it's rational lies. So when we're trying to rationalize something we're doing, oh, when I date married men, I'm doing something good. When we tell ourselves, we're telling ourselves these lies that we're trying to turn into something rational in our head for whatever psychological need. If you're stuck where you don't want to be, you are telling yourself lies. And if you're telling yourself lies, these are probably the same lies. Listen to what you tell other people all the time, because what you tell other people is what you're telling yourself, and you just tell yourself over and over and over again, and then it spills out, and that becomes your story that you start telling of other people. So I want you to think about your life. And again, my field is health and fitness, and people usually come to me when they want to transform their bodies. What lies are you telling yourself that are allowing you to continue on your current course? These are some that I've heard. I've heard these. This is now 33 years. I don't eat that much. Or I eat healthy food and very little junk. I stay pretty active. I have no idea why I'm so fat. I'm doing everything possible to change. I can't afford a gym membership, but they can afford to go out to eat 4 times a week. Or this is one of my favorites. I'm not an alcoholic. I just enjoy a drink or 6 to decompress after a hard work day. The lies we tell ourselves, if you're in a place that you don't want to be, if you're in a place that you look at your life and you go, gosh, I'm 45 years old. This is just not how I thought it was going to turn out. If this is where you are, either mentally or physically or socially or spiritually, look at your life for lies that you're telling yourself to justify where you are and what you're doing. And then you have to challenge your lies. You have to really take a hard look at yourself, figure out what you're saying to yourself to justify what you're doing and where you are, and then challenge those things. If you're like my gym friend who's content to, do something that I think most of us would agree is not a great idea, be with a married man and participate in the destruction of another woman's marriage, ask yourself this, because she wouldn't think that she's telling herself any lies, and she's perfectly content. So if that's where you are, ask yourself this, because this is a question we should all be able to answer affirmatively. Am I proud of the life I am living? Am I proud of the life I'm living? Because I believe, in a spiritual sense, that if you're not proud of who you are and the life that you're living, something is very off, and you're actually doing really bad damage to your soul. And that kind of damage to your soul is bad. It's if not even worse than physical damage that we can do to our bodies. So that's just a thought I wanted to leave you with. Think about your life and lies you might be telling yourself that are keeping you where you are now. If you can't say that you're proud of the life you have and you're proud of who you are, there are lies somewhere in your life. And so I would just ask you to think about that and to consider examining that. Okay, that's all there is for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you will join me next time. If you have comments about this show, I really want to hear them. Tell me what's on your mind. Let me know on Twitter. You can use the hashtag TaraMarieLive. Please rate and review Tara Marie Live on iTunes, and be sure to subscribe to Tara Marie Live using iTunes or your favorite podcast app. That way you'll never miss a new episode. You can subscribe right on my website, taramarie.com. That's TaraMarie.com. And if you're just finding the show, by the way, all past episodes of Tara Marie Live are on my website. If you go to Tara Marie Live, everything's posted there. You can download the episodes. You can listen to them on demand. When you go to my website, sign up for my mailing list. What I'll do, Karol, the link to your straight talk in relationships in the newsletter that I send out about this episode, I will post that link in case somebody didn't write it down. So I'll post that for you. You go to my website, sign up for my mailing list. You'll get my newsletter that includes Tara Marie's tips about nutrition and fitness and motivation. And I always send out information about the latest episode of my podcast. I send out notification if there's going to be a Facebook Live event. I put links to, things like that. So it's good to be on my mailing list. Connect with me on Facebook, and now I'm on Instagram. It's Tara Marie Live, and on Twitter at @TaraMarie_live. And guys, guess what? I just got my Instagram account. I've got like 44 followers because I just opened it. So follow me on Instagram. Maybe I'll post a picture of me and Chad. Chad, are you listening?
I am listening.
Would you be willing?
Possibly. I'm not on Instagram myself.
No, but I need people. I need followers, and so maybe if I can convince Chad.
Believe me, I'm not going to be helping with the follower.
No, I'll post a picture of me and Chad maybe on Instagram.
We'll see.
Listen to me.
I like being a voice. I like just being a unidentified
Chad likes
voice.
to be. That's what Chad likes.
Yes, I like. It's
He's
the
aware,
anonymous sense of us. Yes.
Yes.
That's what.
But people want to know. People email me and ask about Chad.
You never saw Bosley on Charlie's Angels.
That's true. That's true. We would ruin it. We'd
It
destroy
would ruin everything. Yeah.
We'd ruin the mystery.
You got to make him wait till at least season 3.
Season 3. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make better choices today than you did yesterday, and you will always be moving in the right direction. Peace out, and God bless you.
Okay, and now we got the episode. Let's say goodbye to everyone on Facebook
Goodbye,
Live.
everybody on Facebook Live. Thanks for joining us.
All right, and we're turning off Facebook Live. Bye.
Okay, bye.